I want to start this week's video with a joke. Orphan Red.
He is coming. Cover your butt.
Orphan Red is here to enlighten us on scientism and what science actually means.
And if we're not vigilant about preventing this from happening, we end up with scientism. I use the term scientism to denote a religious, a blind faith belief in whatever conclusions scientists declare as having been established or proven by their experiments or by their simulations or their modeling. It's a zealous belief that whatever science proclaims is unquestionable truth.
We are going to do something different today, and we're going to pretend that Orphan Red is correct. I know this will be difficult, but bear with me. It will be worth it, I promise. Let's pretend that science does actually demand the kind of blind faith that Orphan Red says it does. For now, we're going to pretend that Orphan Red is correct. For now, in the current way that people understand science, science is indisputable fact. For now, science demands top-down thinking, where the knowledge that we gain through science is indisputable, and that this is the problem with current science. So, what example does Orphan Red have to demonstrate her point?
And so, for thousands of years, it was scientific truth that the cure for epilepsy, the cure for mental illness, the cure for exhaustion, the cure for syphilis, all of these, I don't know about syphilis, all of these different illnesses were cured by slicing someone open and letting them bleed into a pot to bleed out the evil spirits that were causing the disease.
As an example of how science refuses to change, Orphan Red brings to us bloodletting, a practice that lasted a couple thousand years. This practice was for the most part harmful and arguably also not scientific, but hindsight is 20/20. For now, we will not argue with Sasha over this and simply say that she is correct. Scientists in the past used science to arrive at the indisputable truth that bloodletting was a cure for many diseases. To recap, science is scientism because it doesn't change over time. As proof of this, there is bloodletting that occurred for thousands of years without change. Now, Orphan Red, how does this relate to modern science?
More cautious about mistaking what science has proven for factual truth, then we fall into a hole wherein science loses its legitimacy. Because we start to see science publishing contradictory factual truths from what they published 10 years ago. And so if you're mistaking what you're reading that's coming out of published science research as factual truth, and then you find that 5 or 10 years later, it's contradicting the factual truth that came before it, then people lose trust in the legitimacy of science and the power of science to contribute valuable information.
I hope all of you have already spotted the problem here. According to Orphan Red, science is scientism because science is too rigid and the conclusion it arrives at are taken as indisputable facts. Orphan Red even cites the unchanging practice of bloodletting as evidence that science doesn't change. All of this to come to the conclusion that this is a problem with modern science because modern science often publishes papers that contradict old established science. I can't make this up. Scientism is science that refuses to change, and modern science is scientism because it changes all the time.